whether or not, I'm pretty sure he's going to stand by that opinion, but I'm just saying that everybody out here saw that coming. We could have written the opinion for him, whatever the governor said, fine. That being said, we want to bring Robert Koss of the Guam Federation of Teachers onto the show, Robert. And, we spoke with you, I don't know if it was last week or this week, because all the days are just running together. But we had spoke with you, and you questioned the impartiality of the independent and elected Attorney General. You're not the only person. We had former Governor Eddie Calvo who, butthurt a lot of people when he called up on the show. And, last time I checked, free country, you can call up a talk show and say what you want to say, whether or not you're a former governor or, an average Joe Cruz off the street. But his comments in calling out the public auditor and calling out the Attorney General, well, let's just say the next day the public auditor announced that he's going to be auditing some stuff. And Robert, good morning.
Good morning, Serena. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
Sounded pretty chipper. So what did you think of that opinion when it came down last night? And it came down kind of late. There wasn't a release
Got
at
it
first.
about eight something?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know about this till this morning. Sorry about sounding chipper. Let me try to sound disappointed.
Right.
Good morning, Sabrina.
Can you speak up a little bit, Robert, before we get going?
Okay, sure.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay. Well, I had a chance to skim the AG's opinion. Right off the bat, I think that, one of the questions I have is, does the AG know the difference between a facility and an employee? And the reason I say that is because he seems to say you've got to meet all three conditions. I'm not sure that that's even how it's been applied in the past, and I don't think that's how it was even applied in this instance. But the facility closed, employee is designated as essential and works, and then he can be entitled to the premium pay. I think the declaration of the governor may, and this is just my thoughts right now this morning. Our expensive attorneys will come up with the official legal discussion, but I think the intent of the law was that if there's a declaration of emergency, you require employees to work, and you let others go home and be paid for not working. That creates disparity. That creates inequity, and that's why there needs to be some recognition for employees who are not allowed to go home and stay with their family and be paid, while other employees have to go out and actually do the work. And so there should be some sort of appreciation. I'm surprised that Lillian absolutely doesn't support this at all and doesn't see the inequity. I don't know how she even thinks this is fair. Again, I said that before. It just escapes me. But yeah, all the government was closed. When the governor declared an emergency, she shut down the government. That was pretty clear. All employees were put on administrative leave. And then she authorized supervisors to determine who the essential employees are and tell them to get their butts back out there and protect us. So, when leaving, I think he confuses the locking the front door versus actually performing work during an emergency period. I don't think any of the agencies lock their front door. So what does it mean for a facility to be closed? I think that's very vague. And even like GPD, there may have only been a handful of employees who were put on administrative leave. But a majority of employees were determined to be essential and got out there and kept us safe. Nonetheless, emergency declaration was in place. Some employees were put on administrative leave. If your agency put one employee on administrative leave, certainly you're going to fit into this category. I agree. They probably never locked their door. They're police officers. What do they got to worry about? So, you put your employees on administrative leave. You require some to work. Then you need to do something about the equity. And this is a government-wide problem. I don't think it's agency by agency at all. That emergency declaration declared the government of Guam to be in a state of emergency. And then what Lillian said in the past, the typhoons, those employees put their lives at risk. Didn't we just hear that one of our GMH nurses' life is at risk? Didn't she come down with the COVID? So, what are we going to do? We're going to keep fighting. We're not going to stop fighting this until we've exhausted all of our avenues, because I just don't accept it. And yeah, Levin has defended this administration in the past and appears to continue to do so. So no surprises there either.
So when you see the word facility, it means the
Nothing.
government as a whole
It
being the
means nothing.
facility. It means nothing. Oh, okay.
The inequity occurs when you send some employees home and you put them on administrative leave, but you say, but your buddy there, we need him to work. And so now there you have inequity. And so it's really when you put employees on administrative leave and other employees go out and work, that's when the inequity occurs. And that's where some sort of consideration needs to be made for essential employees. So whether or not they lock the front door, I don't think that's the deciding factor.
You know what I thought was interesting?
But is that what they're saying, though?
That's what Lee would say. You must meet
Yeah.
all three conditions, and
Right.
they never.
Close.
What does it mean to close the facility? And I don't think that's it. It does not hinge on closing the facility. It was never applied that way in the past. Employees were paid under this policy anytime this sort of equity issue surfaced, and that's how it should be done again this time. Has
So
nothing
there's
to do-
precedence.
Absolutely, not just in the past, not just a past practice, but also in the current instance where we have some agencies who are getting paid and some who are not.
You know what I thought was interesting, Robert, when we talk about the impartiality and the AG's, a lot of people are just questioning his ability to remain independent. In his opinion, he had said that our office's role, however, is to interpret the rules as they are written. Amending these rules is, of course, a matter of policy most appropriate for the legislature. The Organic Act, in fact, expressly authorizes the legislature to set the compensation of all GovGuam employees, Camacho stated.
Right.
Right. So I was just wondering, how did he turn a blind eye to the executive order that the governor issued with the COVID differential pay? Is that not setting compensation for all GovGuam employees?
No, I think his opinion is exactly that. It's an opinion, and you know what they say about opinion.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's his interpretation, not mine. And again, I think if he's going to hang his hat on the fact that whether or not the facility was closed or not, as being the weakness in our argument, I do believe we will overcome that, and that ultimately, I hope the governor sets aside some money. One of the big concerns I have is he's saying this policy doesn't apply. Well, if federal funds were used in the past under this policy, does that now require GovGuam to pay back those federal funds? Because my understanding is the policy has to be in place in advance of the emergency period in order to qualify to use federal funds.
Right. We've been covering this, Robert, and it kind of seems like they could definitely pay the double pay and make the ask to FEMA that it be reimbursed. And then this whole argument that, double pay is going to bankrupt GMH, it's going to do this, it would just be out the window, because if FEMA is going to cover 75% of it, we end up paying whatever 75% of that is.
Yeah. One of the heartbreaking things now is even if the legislature jumped on their white horse and came to our rescue, would the policy be in place prior to the emergency period?
Right.
No. It would be a general fund obligation at that point. I don't know. That may be a situation where GovGuam could not, afford to do something like this.
Do you think that the administration is going to take this opinion from the Attorney General and start taping it to GovGuam agency doors and hold it up like, hey, yeah, this is it?
Oh, I have no doubt she's going to wave it around. But I think we got what we paid for. It was free, right?
It was, yeah. It was free. All right. So the takeaway from the Guam Federation of Teachers, it's just an opinion, and everybody's got one of those.
Right.
How many people have signed up so far on?
Oh my gosh, it's starting to wear on me. I think we're pushing 400 at this point. And when you got the social distancing, that's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And again, is that all GFT members, or it's for anybody that wants to join, right?
I like the way Denorsi said it. They are now.
Yeah.
So you said 400. Are they mostly nurses?
No, there's a large mix of employees from all agencies really. Lot of police officers.
Well, I wonder how the chief is feeling. We tried to get him on, but we haven't been able to get him on. But, we asked, and it's funny to me because these political hires who are heading these different agencies with these disgruntled employees, because they're appointed by, obviously, the process, they're put in this spot where they got to toe the line and agree with Adeloop or else. And we saw that with Fire Chief Dan Stone. God, Robert, we know so many firefighters, and I don't know a single one who's like, nah, I'm good with this 25%. Never mind the double pay. We're all right. Because, they know. They've gotten it before. They know. And so to have the chief kind of like wiggle and dance around whether or not he thinks they should get it was just kind of, it gave me a stomach ache.
Yeah, I heard the interview. I sort of had a different take on it. I think he kind of denied that the firefighters were okay with this, but he had to basically put out the official position of the administration.
Right. Yeah. He did say, there were still grumblings, is I think the word he used.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and then clarified, no, they're not okay with it.
I'm not sure what this is. Just one of our viewers asked, did you read DOA Chapter 7, 404, Section F? Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, not off the top of my head.
Okay.
Maybe if I had the title of that section, I could talk about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is.
But Chapter 7, I'll go back and read it. If there's anything there that can help us, that'd be great. I think we need to look at what is the effect of a declaration of emergency at this point. Mm-hmm. If the governor declares the government of Guam to be in an emergency, there should be some sort of definition of what that means. And I think what that means is all the agencies are shut down, or facilities are shut down. Supervisors, determine your critical employees, put them to work. It's an opinion, and I think we'll overcome it.
The AG's got a press conference this morning, but ahead of that, Robert, we know they listen. What is the GFT's message to Attorney General Levin Camacho?
I think I like what he said, that it's his job to interpret the policy. I encourage him to practice that more. We've seen a lot at the Civil Service Commission where the Attorney General is defending malfeasance and misconduct of the government of Guam. And I have been jumping up and down angry about it because my belief is the Attorney General's law is to uphold and defend the laws of Guam. There's been a lot of criticism about BJ too. His job is very similar. He submits reports. Are we in compliance with the laws of Guam? But I want to remind the people that BJ doesn't enforce that. Once those reports are passed out and it says, hey, there's malfeasance, it's up to someone else in the government of Guam to do something about it. And, I suspect that would probably be the Inspector General, but we don't have one of those. So,
right. Well, BJ said, Robert came out and said that he's going to be doing something on this auditing or with the pay issue. Hey, I wanted to ask real quick, how many nurses have jumped onto your lawsuit?
Why is that important? That question keeps getting asked to me. I got senators calling me asking that question. Why is that important? We have approximately 400 public employees participating of all different positions, and I don't understand the significance of nurses. Nurses were cheated, same as anyone else.
Right on. Okay.
The governor's a nurse.
Yeah, because the gov's a nurse. So we're just like, how many fellow nurses?
Yeah, that's something that the nurses keep reminding me. Coming from a nurse, of all people, she should know better. So,
I think we'll end on that. We got Senator Joe San Augustine standing by, Robert.
All right, Joe. Help us, Joe.
Okay, and we'll keep in touch, after the press conference. You want to drop us a line, let us know what you thought. We'd love that.
Great. All right. I'm always in touch.
Okay. Thank you, Robert. Wash your hands. Robert Koss of the Guam Federation of Teachers. Let's go now to Senator Joe San Augustine, who I'm pretty sure has his 2 cents on